All right. Welcome back to the Crisis Report. There's so much going on that we're doing two a day because, well, there's so much going on. So it is the 14th of June, 2025, and it is becoming increasingly questioned, asked, wondered, and just a concern of everybody because it would be major and it'd be a problem. Will the Strait of Hormuz be shut? You better hope that it's not, because I can tell you right now, um, Strait of Hormuz gets shut, bare minimum, we're looking at $90 to $120 barrel of oil. Now, some people are saying 200 to 300. I don't know the validity of that, but $100, $120 a barrel, that is absolutely possible. So this question is getting put out there more and more. So we're gonna look at that. We're also gonna look at all of the different things that have happened since the first video that was put out afternoonish. So that should tell you everything that's going on because there's just so much that I need to do multiple broadcasts. So we're gonna do that, and we appreciate being here. So if you like what we're doing and you are so inclined, please consider doing the membership thing. It helps with the powers that be in the background, because if you are a member, then that means that I've got people that care, and then you're putting a couple bucks down, and that means that Tube gets a little something, I get a little something for the effort, and it's just a big love fest, right? So I can say with no uncertainty that I saw one of the most surreal videos ever. Actually, put it into I turn it into like I can turn it into a short, but I won't. It's a guy playing a saxophone at a wedding, and in the background there are interceptions of Iranian missiles from Israeli air defense happening as he was doing this like horn solo. It is absolutely surreal. So the other thing is, now they're starting to get worried that the air defense systems of Israel are not just getting overwhelmed, because there's a lot more success by the Iranians today than there was yesterday, but also the ability to keep them going in manufacturing, because, well, the Iranians are getting a lot of missiles through, and the THAAD air system, David Sling, Iron Dome, all of them, they've only got so much they can do. There's only so many of those air defense things going on, and what Iran is doing now is they're sending loitering munitions, and the loitering munitions go through and they kind of attract the air defense systems, and then after that the hypersonics come in and they do their job, and their job is to strike and to hurt people, and there's a lot of people getting struck and hurt. I've got numbers on that as well. So that is your little debriefing as we get people in here. I know it's Saturday night and everybody's down in DC marching at the No Kings thing, making an extra couple of bucks from some of the Chinese billionaires that are putting it out there and trying to, air quotes, make this organic. Covered that on Prepper Now if you want to go check that out. Yes, there is a legion of billionaires that are fueling these anti-American protests, and people are getting paid for it. So, yeah, pretty surreal. Pretty surreal. It's surreal all over right now. So, let's get started on your crisis report. And no, Joy and Jax, not many hypersonics have been used yet, but that's the problem. They're waiting. I think they're doing probing attacks. It's a very common thing. You go in and you kind of see what you can get away with, and then once you figure that out, well, at that point, it gets worse. they start doing what they know they can get away with. So, all right, that's enough jibber jabber. 5 minutes is the start time. We're going to put that out, tell people about it. This is your crisis report PM for 6/14/25 by PN, Mr. Prepper now. Here we go. Excuse me. All right. Oh, what is this up here? A secret channel. For who would do that? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm going to start rolling that one too. So if you want to go on over there, it's been a couple weeks since I posted, but I will start to post there much more now that I'm more free. So we won't let you. It's on the crisis report if you're wondering. Yes, I do have a super secret channel just in case, because you never know in this day and age. All right, Israeli Chief of Staff, we are working to pave the way to Tehran. Macron says Iran's nuclear program is a serious concern and must be resolved through negotiation. Therefore, invited President Pezeshkian to return swiftly to the negotiating table, reach an agreement. Only viable path to de-escalation. That's so gone at this point. Starmer says Britain will deploy extra fighter jets, Middle East bases amid escalation in the region. Turkish Directorate of Communication says a security meeting chaired by Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has held in the presidential complex. Meeting addressed the conflict sparked by Israel's attacks on Iran, examining the situation in detail. Discussions just focused on Israel's escalating aggression, diplomatic efforts to end the fighting, the impact of the region in global security, and Turkey's preparedness for potential developments. This is all from the Clash report. He is from Turkey, if that doesn't ring clear. IDF, our planes are completing a wave of strikes against the nuclear program in the heart of Iran, destroyed the underground site in western Iran where there were dozens of missiles. If there's one thing you can say about today, and I almost called this video of it, but I think the Hormuz thing is the more concern because that's really starting to be talked about. Escalation. Both sides are just going for it. They don't care. They don't care. Civilians, good luck. If you are in either of those cities, preferably leave. And if you can't leave, have some form of an underground structure at the bare minimum, like a tunnel or a parking lot, where you can get to, because they are starting to really chuck some major missiles. IDF reserve forces are deployed on our front lines and the borders with both Lebanon and Syria. IDF says despite our strikes, Iran still possesses capabilities that could harm Israel. Iranian attacks are not over yet, and we must prepare for all eventualities. One has to wonder if the nuclear option is being talked about in the Kiryat bunker. Meanwhile, protests have started in major cities in the U.S. against Trump's policies. Trump will hold a military parade in Washington in the coming hours. There's a lot of developments in the later portions of this. Problems in Salt Lake City, problems in Los Angeles, problems in Nevada. And also, about 10:30, there was an alert. There's an active shooter potentially at Fort Hood, Texas. So just again, like it's just nuts everywhere. So be watching your six if you're out there on the streets, folks. Phone call: Turkish President Erdogan, Syrian President al-Shara. Conflict between Israel and Iran, as well as regional and global issues, were discussed. Lebanese army raided 500 weapons depots to seize weapons. Iranian President Pezeshkian says the Americans have always emphasized during the negotiations that the Zionist regime will not commit any aggression without their coordination and permission, and therefore it is clear current attacks are also being carried out with coordination and green light of America. If they want, they can put this regime in its place. There is a lot of talk about how the Israelis are really pushing and pressuring America to enter, and right now the administration is saying no, we're not going to. There's a pretty interesting reason why, but we'll get to that. Air defense systems in Tehran have been activated. IDF says we are striking Iran at this hour. They're striking them at all hours. Activation of Iranian air defense systems: Tehran, Bandar Abbas, Isfahan, and other areas. Israel struck Iranian gas infrastructure near Bandar Abbas today. Strike was meant to send a message to officials in Tehran, according to Israeli officials. Folks, if you have not filled your vehicles and your gas cans up at this point, you're really just rolling the dice. Oil prices are already at about $72. I'm going to do my usual check. Let's take a look right now. 71.53. It's been holding there right now. But you mark my words, it will be going up further. Israeli firing and air strikes killed at least 45 Palestinians across Gaza Strip, many of them near an aid distribution site operated by the U.S. backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation on Saturday, local health authorities said. Maybe I can hold off the yawns, but I don't know. I thought about going live on Prepper Now after. I might not. A little tired. Still a little lagged, still a little jet lagged from coming from Europe. Iranian Navy intercepted a British destroyer that entered northern Indian Ocean to help guide Israeli missiles toward Iran. Israeli Minister of Education said there will be no classes this week. Probably a smart move. Iranian state TV says violent and destructive Iranian attacks on Israel within hours. That did come true. Families of Israeli government ministers have been evacuated to secret locations. RAF Voyager refueling tanker has been tracked over Jordan, heading towards Syria. Israeli officials to Khan News saying, we attacked another Iranian gas field after Bushehr, and national infrastructure is on the list. Brigadier General Khosrow Hassani, Deputy Chief of Intelligence for the IRGC's Air and Space Force, killed alongside Brigadier General Hajizadeh during the Israeli attacks yesterday. Skies over Kermanshah witnessed a confrontation between Israeli drones and Iranian air defenses. Israel to Iran, if you attack civilian areas, we will strike strategic infrastructure, according to Jerusalem Post. Fire broke out the Imam Hassan military garrison in Mahidasht, Kermanshah, Iran, following an Israeli strike. Iraq urges the U.S. to stop Israeli aircraft from using its airspace to launch attacks on Iran. White House officials to Barak Ravid, Axios reporter, said we cannot prevent what will happen today, but we have the ability to negotiate a nonviolent and successful resolution of the conflict if Iran is willing to do so. And they're not. President Putin called this morning to very nicely wish me a happy birthday, Trump said, but more importantly, talk about Iran, a country he knows very well. Talked at length, much less time was spent talking about Russia, Ukraine, but that will be for next week. He is doing the planned prisoner swaps. Large numbers of prisoners are being exchanged immediately from both sides. Call lasted approximately 1 hour. He feels, as I do, this war in Israel-Iran should end, to which I explained his war should end also. How about we just end all the wars? Not going to happen. Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar, Iran still has many missiles and the battle is not over yet. No, it's just beginning. Turkish President Erdogan held a phone call with U.S. President Donald Trump. They discussed the Iran-Israeli conflict and other regional and global issues. Erdogan and Turkey is closely monitoring the tension and sees nuclear talks as the only path to resolution. He expressed support for the U.S. position on continuing the negotiations. He also stated that Turkey is ready to help prevent an uncontrollable escalation. Friends, it is already escalated. We are well beyond the escalation phase. We are at almost peak full-on war, if it's not there already, and it basically is. Senior Israeli official to Channel 12 said there is a significant likelihood that the U.S. will join in the crosshairs for Dow, whatever that means. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, good call with President Trump, head of the G7. We discussed the tense geopolitical situation in the Middle East, as well as the need for close coordination on the impact on energy markets We also discussed the situation in Ukraine, the imperative for a ceasefire, and the need to keep pressure on Russia. Finally, we took stock of the ongoing trade talks, reiterated our commitment to reach a good deal before July 9th. Um, Conspiracy theory. What if they really do want this whole, thing to get going, so they have something to blame on the fact that our markets, our financials, and everything are in as crappy and precarious of a situation as possible, so they can go, hey, wow, looks like everything crapped to bed. I guess it's that pesky Middle Eastern conflict that's going on. So glad we pinpointed it. Yeah. What do you think, friends? So yeah. Sorry, I'm reading Mehdi's uh, post. He said Israel is surrounded by enemies, has limited resources, and it is possible the U.S. cannot supply the missile reloads Israel will need. Israel is on the losing end of the military math in this, and that math is starting to be calculated. A very excellent post, as I always say. I have the smartest subs on YouTube. You guys are all very highly intelligent. You're critical thinkers, and you see past the usual BS. And Mehdi, you are correct. The math is not starting to look good. So, yeah, that's right, Sally Sock Puppet. Just like Walmart, high prices and blame the tariffs. Of course, there's always an out, right? U.S. official to Reuters, the Israeli raid on the Pars field was 200 kilometers from important U.S. gas interests in Qatar. Israeli raid on Pars gas field was reckless. Israel's F-35s reached Iran without refueling or losing stealth. U.S. and Israel secretly modified the jets to extend their range. No mid-air refueling, no landing in third countries. Modifications are classified. Maybe they're like big Priuses, big F-35 Prius. I kid. Saudi Arabia's you have to laugh at some of the stuff. I know this is all serious stuff, and we shouldn't, have any kind of critical thinking or even, jocular kind of attitude. But I mean, this whole thing is just, it sucks. I was watching people in other areas. They're going back and forth. Some pro one way, some pro the other. Folks, nobody wins. Nobody wins. Okay, don't take pleasure in anybody's pain and all this. Trust me, we're all just meat shields in the end of this. It doesn't matter. The people of Iran are not the government of Iran. The people of Israel are not the government of Israel. We're all just freaking pawns in this chess game. Okay. Saudi Arabia, MBS, Israeli attacks have disrupted the ongoing dialogue to resolve the crisis and hampered de-escalation efforts. Israeli Home Front Command says stay near protected areas. Duh. Israeli Security Cabinet is currently meeting. They've been meeting a lot for obvious reasons. We know only the U.S. B-2 bomber can deliver the GBU-57 bunker buster, powerful enough to strike Iran's deeply buried nuclear sites, especially Fordow. Israel can only succeed either through an unprecedented intelligence operation or with full U.S. support. So, Mehdi, what you said, bud, you're calling it. So, yeah, they got problems. So, math is not doing well. Iran's deputy foreign minister, we will take new measures at our nuclear facilities that we will not report to the IAEA. Israeli military intelligence has detected Iranian preparations to launch a missile strike soon. Deputy foreign minister, we will not cooperate with the IAEA as we did in the past. IDF identified that missiles were recently launched from Iran towards the territory of the state of Israel. Missile launches from Iran toward Israel. Reports of an Israeli hit in Yemen. Fires have broken out at strategic facilities in Haifa. Haifa was hit hard today. Iran's new strikes involve hundreds of ballistic missiles. Unverified report of the assassination of Houthi leader Abdul Malik al-Houthi, according to Israeli media, reports that the IDF attacked a building where a situation assessment was being conducted by the Houthi leadership. Target of the Israeli attack in Yemen, Mohammed al-Amri, the Houthi chief of staff. I think he got taken out. We'll see. I might be in here. A new wave of combined offensive operations using the Sadek-3 drone missile was launched by the IRGC Aerospace Force in response to the renewed attacks by the Zionist regime. Iran's oil depots in the Shahran area, west of Tehran, attacked by Israel. Iranian missile strikes successfully hit Haifa refinery in Israel. American media Axios is saying Israel has requested the Trump administration take part in the Israeli military aggression against Iran for the past 48 hours. Currently not happening. Support, geospatial help, downing of Iranian missiles, yeah, that's going on, but like America going in, no. However, there's an interesting indicator. And just like the indicator of the pizza for the Pentagon folks, this indicator has been triggered, and we'll see. We'll get to it. So, yeah, Israel likely rationing THAAD and SM-3 anti-ballistic missile systems. U.S. can only manufacture 50 to 75 THAAD and 60 to 84 SM-3 interceptors per year. Compare that to the number of hundreds of ballistic missiles Iran has launched in just the past 48 hours, and then extrapolate that. Again, the military math is not looking good for Israel. Trump must go now. Large anti-Trump protests chanting as they march towards the White House in D.C. Hope they made good money. Texas state capitol evacuated during No Kings protest due to credible threat against state lawmakers. Hashtag so peaceful. Iran and Israel has escalated to another level and moved to attacking vital facilities. This is true. Haifa Port Oil Refinery, Tehran's oil depot, Israel attacking nuclear facilities. Simply nuclear terrorism, which no one is talking about except China. They use they use UN charter to call attacking nuclear facilities in Iran as an act that violates all international standards. IRGC press release number 2 is a continuation of the combined offensive operation, True Promise 3, and in response to today's evils and aggression by the Zionist regime, we targeted Israeli fighter jet fuel production facility and energy supply centers with a multitude of drones and missiles. The offensive operations of the armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran will continue to be more fierce and widespread if the aggression continues. That is called escalation. IRGC Aerospace Defense Umbrella, under the command of the Integrated Network and the joint headquarters of the country's air defense, has succeeded in intercepting and destroying 3 Israeli cruise missiles, 10 drones, and dozens of small drones in the country. Iran's hardliner Daily Kayhan, whose head is appointed by Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, writes in its Sunday editorial that the era of limited strikes is over and that Tehran's new strategy is the total elimination of Israel from the region. Multiple direct hits in Tel Aviv, central Israel, shockwave visible. Iran appears to have used hypersonic missiles on this strike as well, and that is starting to be more reported that the hypersonics are being more and more used, and they're just getting started. They haven't even really begun to use them yet. And I got to tell you, some of the videos, I saw a video in Israel I posted on my Telegram where the building literally got sheared in half. These missiles are no joke. Israeli officials says targeting Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei is not off limits, according to the Wall Street Journal. So ask yourself, is this existential to both of the leaders of these countries, Ayatollah Khomeini and Of course, Netanyahu, who's got his own political issues. This thing is going to get more and more intense. Okay? It is. There's nothing I've seen anything, not even an inkling of de escalation going on right now. Iran's energy infrastructure situation right now. Iran's South Pars gas field struck, shutting down 12 million cubic meters of gas production per day. 2 Shahran oil field in western Tehran on fire after Israeli strikes. 3 Israeli strikes hit 2 oil depots in Tehran, setting them on fire. 4 Iran says production at world's largest gas field has been partially suspended due to Israeli strikes. Do you think you should fill up your gas tanks, folks? I don't know. Maybe you should. Multiple oil refineries in Iran are reportedly on fire. CIG Analysis is the channel I follow. They do excellent work. 2007-2008 oil spike when the highest cost of oil in history was achieved due to tensions with Iran and spillover from then raging Iraq insurgency. Many economists now blame this spike as the catalyst which initiated the global financial crisis in 2008. Whoa, I think we're on to something. Mortgage owners were unable to sustain both their payments and absorb the rapid increase in energy costs. With direct strikes on energy infrastructure now taking place on both sides amid a deteriorating U.S. fiscal picture, is history going to repeat itself? We're asking some big old questions here tonight, folks. LAPD has issued disperse orders to extreme left rioters and illegal aliens after mass violence broke out near the city center. Tear gas, rubber bullets, all being used to disperse the rioters. Explosions near the U.S. consulate in Erbil, Iraq. Pentagon convened to discuss Israel's request to intervene in the war against Iran, according to NBC. Deutsche Bank, oil prices will go to $125 a barrel if the Iran-Israeli conflict spills over into the Strait of Hormuz. He's misspelled Strait, by the way. Iranian missile detonates on roof of high-rise residential building. Shears off half the structure. It's a surreal video. It literally, like you take like a avocado and you slice like one of the sides to put for nice avocado toast. You know what I'm saying? A nice avocado toast. You slice off one of the sides, right? That's what it looked like. The building just gets sheared. Israeli air defense appears to be increasingly ineffective as Iran strikes overwhelm supplies of munitions. Day 2, and we're at the point where the drone swarms are breaking through to Israel proper. Signs of degrading air defense systems and Israeli Air Force. Your weekly reminder that in open source, it is generally believed that the USA can produce 50 to 75 THAAD interceptors. Many estimates have 60 to 84 SM-3. You can do the math. Intel Slava analysis. These takes noticeably align with reports of increasingly demands by Israeli authorities to the United States to directly intervene in the conflict. It is likely the continuous attacks by Iran are depleting Israeli stockpiles of interceptors, hence the urgency to bring in American support before their air defense network is completely overwhelmed. Rut row. Weizmann Institute for Science in Rahbat, a prominent Israeli research center, has sustained damage in Iran's latest missile barrage, with a fire in at least one building containing laboratories, according to images shared with the New York Times. Sources tell Insider Paper residents of Tehran are mass evacuating to different cities amid Israeli strikes. State Department says U.S. citizens should depart Iran immediately. U.S. Army robot dogs were marching down D.C. for the Army's 250th birthday. There is no peace in Iran for a moment. The Israeli Air Force is nonstop attacking targets at the capital of Tehran. Defense establishment identifies preparations for launches from Iran. IDF spokesperson, IDF has completed a large-scale wave of attacks in Tehran infrastructure of the Iranian nuclear weapons project and fuel storage facilities. Air Force fighter jets, under intelligence guidance from the intelligence branch, recently completed a broad wave of attacks in Tehran against several targets of the Iranian nuclear weapons project, including the headquarters of the Iranian Ministry of Defense, headquarters of the nuclear project's spanned headquarters, and other targets. These goals advance the efforts to obtain nuclear weapons in which the Iranian regime has hidden its nuclear archive. Last attack was combined from Iran, Iraq, and Yemen, 16 injured, most likely. Iranians launched a swarm of suicide drones in order to overwhelm the defense systems. Then, launched missiles and cruise missiles, and the Houthis also joined in and launched at least one missile. Most significant combined attack to date. All of the Iranian barrages are aimed at civilian population. Fire and rescue for Israel. Situation report on events after the last barrage. Don District hit 8-story building, destruction at the scene, 10 teams on scene. In another incident, damage to a residential building, 10 teams on site. Jerusalem District, direct hit to a 2-story building. Central District, several incidents of direct damage to buildings and also fire in an open area. After the current barrage, it is now official the Iranian terrorist regime has moved to attack city centers using missiles. Some of them have been hypersonic. Blatant terrorist attacks on civilians without any attempt to damage infrastructure or bases, just marking a city center and launching. Yemen Houthi leader calls on countries across the Arab and Muslim worlds to back Iran in its war with Israel for their own interests, according to Al Jazeera. Trump says people who don't want to do anything about Iran having a nuclear weapon, that's not peace. Vance, we never ask you to go to war unless you absolutely have to. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite him in the butt. Iran used Ahmad, Qadr, and Khabar Shakan missiles in the attacks on Haifa and Tel Aviv. Israeli jets struck Tehran's Nobanyad area tonight, targeted the Ministry of Defense and Armed Forces Support Headquarters. Nearby Defense Research and Innovation Organization, SAPAND, was also hit. Very interesting, Mossad cells operating inside Iran are carrying out attacks with spiked missiles on IRGC targets within Tehran. U.S. rejected Netanyahu's request to join the war. Israel urged the Trump administration to join the war with Iran to eliminate its nuclear program. U.S. officials said that currently the administration is not considering such a move. 6 sites in Tel Aviv have been directly hit from Iranian missiles. Media sources are reporting divisions in Washington regarding the U.S. joining Israel in its war against Iran. According to Iranian media, missiles and in today's attacks on Tel Aviv were fitted with a higher explosive warhead yield. Iranian Revolutionary Guard used Hajj Qasem type solid fuel tactical guided ballistic missiles in the recent attack. Iranian officials are concerned that if Israel strikes Iran's infrastructure, there could be protests and riots against the government. I don't know if you want to go out into the streets if that's going on. Defense Ministry, nuclear headquarters, nuclear laboratories, and oil facilities were attacked in Tehran, according to Israeli media. During the missile attack in Haifa, Israelis were filmed taking shelter in a tunnel. So a lot of them are going to parking garages and all kinds of stuff. They're just tunnels. They're going wherever they can get to shelter. Iran used hypersonic missiles to strike Haifa. FBI is offering a reward of up to $50,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of Vance L. Bolter, suspected of shooting 2 Minnesota lawmakers and their spouses at their homes. Major manhunt going on. The guy impersonated a police officer, went to the door, took him out. Waller reports that the number of injured from the Iranian missile strikes in Bat Yam and Rehovot has now reached 100. Israeli Emergency Authority has updated the number of wounded to 125 and has announced that 3 people died after the Iranian strikes on Bat Yam and Rehovot. Cost breakdown from recent missile exchanges. Iran used medium and long-range ballistic missiles like the Ahmad and Sajil, each costing about 3 to 8 million per unit. Intercept them. Israel and the U.S. used Arrow, 2 to 3 million per interceptor. SM-3, U.S. Navy, 12 to 15 million. THAAD, 10 to 20 million. Intercepting a single Iranian missile can cost 2 to 5 times what launching it, especially with U.S. systems like the SM-3 and THAAD, deployed alongside Israeli defense layers. It's going to cost us, basically, what he's saying. Israel's Home Front Command estimates 35 people remain trapped under the rubble in Bet Yam, south of Tel Aviv. Death and injuries toll rises to 40 dead Israelis and around 200 injured. That is a Muslim number. So, Iranian Ministry of Oil issues a warning stating that hazardous materials have been released into the air in Tehran. Says the perimeter has been created around damaged facilities. Warning tells Iranians in South Tehran to close windows, doors, and stay indoors. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman claims Israel is doing everything in its power to provoke U.S. military confrontation with Iran. No, you're kidding. Fort Hood, Army Base, Texas, been placed on lockdown following reports of an active shooter. And a parade at nearby Fort Cavazos to Fort Hood, celebrating the Army's 250th anniversary, was interrupted. Loudspeakers at Fort Hood were announcing active shooter incident and occurring the installation. Avoid all outdoor areas. If the active shooter is in your building or nearby, lock your door. All personnel and residents are urged to shelter in place. Stay clear of outdoor areas and follow lockdown procedures. More updates to come as the situation develops. Utah, shots have rung out during the SLC, No King's Day, protest, and march. Further details unknown. Iranian parliament on voting to leave the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty and closing the Strait of Hormuz on Monday. Principalists, hardliners hold majority at this time. That is not good. Yeah, tomorrow, folks. Lobster indicator. What's this? Well, it's been triggered. Troops in the U.S. being served lobster has been documented by netizens on TikTok. Lobster dinner, a fine meal, means imminent deployment. Now, some people noted it might just because today is the 250th anniversary. I don't know. But the lobster indicator has been triggered. U.S. Navy redirecting Nimitz CSG carrier strike group to CENTCOM to provide more help to Israel. A lot of SM-36 will be needed to replenish very slowly. More importantly, no active U.S. carrier strike group in Westpac until the situation in the Persian Gulf calms down. PLA is really going to enjoy the next few months. That is the key. An exclusive source told Geopolitics Watch has informed us that the U.S. Army soldiers served steaks just hours ago. Usually this is a measure used to increase morale before deployment. And according to Semaphore, U.S. military leaders and officials, including the commander of U.S. Central Command, General Michael Kurilla, have requested more resources to support and defend Israel against Iran, but their requests have drawn resistance from Undersecretary of Defense and Policy Elbridge Colby, who has long opposed moving military assets from Asia to the Middle East due to the threat posed by China. keeping his eyes on the prize, saying, hey, the real deal is not the Middle East. It's China. Curfew alert. Saturday night, downtown LA. And Iraq state media says the Iraqi Foreign Minister Fuad Hussein called the Foreign Minister of Germany and warned about the possibility of a closure of the Strait of Hormuz, warning it could cause gas prices to rise between $200 to $300 per barrel. And that's your crisis report, folks. That's your crisis report. Holy Lord. Can I get you guys to consider becoming a member? Hopefully you like what we're doing here. Well, a couple bucks a month. It means you get some of the intel a little bit before everybody else. Something major goes down, I post it on the YouTube post so people get it if you're members. So all I can say is we we are there, man. No longer quiet. We are in crazy town. You've got the No Kings movement. You've got assassinations of political leaders. You've got Middle Eastern conflict. You've got Eastern Europe conflict. My gosh. Folks, if you're not prepping, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell you. Please, go get the things. Fill your car up. And get your people ready. Okay? Gene W., thanks for being a member. Yeah. My Lord, we are at peak crazy. You know, the sad thing is it's probably going to get even crazier. So we shall see. And we'll cover it here in the crisis report. That's right. That's what we do, folks. Please have a great night. God bless you all. Hit the buttons. Do a comment. I'm getting these videos with like great views, and there's like 2 people comment. Leave me a comment. Anything. Doesn't really matter. Okay? Comments help. Otherwise, you help. Thanks for being here. Your support is necessary and so appreciated. God bless you all. Friends, stack, stock, stick to the plan. Keep your head on the swivel and your powder dry, and keep on coming back and on by. Crisis report by Prepper Now, or just go on over to Prepper Now. We will see you on the next one.